All right, so Seoul, let's dive in. We know you want to hit the ground running on your trip, and we're here to help with that.
Sounds exciting.
You want all the best spots to visit, right? And the food. Oh, and just how to, really get the most out of the city.
The energy of Seoul is something special for sure.
Exactly. And luckily, we've got all that and more for you today. We dug deep into a pretty detailed Seoul travel guide.
Oh, nice. Always a good starting point.
And we even snuck a peek at FlightNHotels.com, just for some extra inspiration for booking the trip.
Smart move. That site can be really helpful for getting the best deals.
Right. Okay, so first things first. What makes Seoul so special?
Seoul, it just blends the ancient and the super modern so well.
Yeah, the guide mentioned that, city of contrasts idea. But what makes Seoul different from other cities trying to do that?
Well, a lot of cities have old and new stuff, but Seoul, it weaves it together,
So it's not just like, oh, look, a palace next to a skyscraper. It's more like they're intentionally connected somehow.
Exactly. You get these peaceful temples tucked between busy streets. It's kind of magical, actually.
It's like the city itself is a time capsule, but it's still moving forward.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
So the guide mentioned some pretty cool attractions. Gyeongbokgung Palace, for example. What's the story there?
Oh, Gyeongbokgung. It's breathtaking, honestly. It's the biggest of the 5 grand palaces, and its history goes way back.
So much history to uncover there. I bet there's some interesting stories behind it, too.
Definitely. It was destroyed during a war, way back in the 1500s.
Oh, wow. I had no idea.
Yeah. And it was left in ruins for over 250 years. Imagine that. It was finally restored in the late 1800s.
So it's like a symbol of resilience then, too.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we can't talk about Seoul without mentioning Seoul Tower. Those panoramic city views, especially at sunset.
Oh yeah, Seoul Tower is a must-do. It really is romantic with the lights of the city, and people put those love locks on the railings. Thousands of them.
Love locks. I've heard of that. Each one is like a wish, right?
Yeah. Or a promise. It adds to the atmosphere, for sure.
So, Seoul Tower is for the romantics out there. What about something more, traditional?
Then you have to check out Bukchon Hanok Village. It's like stepping back in time.
Wait, you can actually stay in a hammock there, right?
Yeah. There are guest houses there. Imagine waking up in one of those beautifully restored traditional houses.
And sleeping on the heated floors, the ondol.
Exactly. And sipping tea in a peaceful garden. It'd be a whole different world from the city's hustle.
Wow, I'm sold. Okay, but let's be real. I need some shopping time on any trip. Is Myeongdong shopping district the place to be?
Oh, for sure. Myeongdong is a shopper's dream. Big brands, little boutiques, everything you can imagine.
And probably some amazing people watching too. So many different styles.
Oh, definitely. The fashion there is amazing. There's this little shop there called Toggle. You should check it out.
Oh, what's special about it?
They have amazing handmade jewelry, like traditional Korean designs, but with a modern twist.
Perfect. Love finding those unique pieces. Speaking of unique, we have to talk about the street food in Myeongdong. Right.
Oh my gosh, yes. It's legendary. From savory pancakes to those spicy rice cakes, the tteokbokki.
The tteokbokki, that's what I've heard so much about.
Yeah. There's this one stall in Myeongdong, in the same family for generations, top secret recipe.
Oh, a secret family recipe. I'm already drooling. Okay, so we've covered shopping and some iconic attractions, but what about the food scene overall?
Well, Seoul is a foodie paradise.
Yeah.
Michelin-starred restaurants and street food vendors side by side.
Oh, I love a good mix of high-end and, down-to-earth options.
Exactly. And so much variety, truly something for everyone.
And speaking of culinary adventures, Korean BBQ has to be on the list. Is it as good as everyone says?
Korean BBQ is a must. Grilling the meat at your table, sharing all the side dishes, it's a whole experience.
So it's social, too, not just about the food.
Definitely. A social, delicious experience.
Okay, what about bibimbap? The guide made it sound really appealing, especially for a healthy meal.
Bibimbap is a classic for a reason. Rice, seasoned veggies, a fried egg, all mixed up. And super colorful.
Oh, I love a good fried egg. You can customize it, too, right?
Yeah. Add kimchi, bulgogi, tofu, whatever you like.
Oh, the kimchi. I have to ask, what exactly is it?
Kimchi. It's kind of the heart of Korean food. Fermented cabbage, spicy, tangy, almost a funky flavor.
It sounds intimidating, but in a good way.
You'll get it as a side dish practically everywhere. Some places even have, whole kimchi menus.
Wow, I have to try that. Since we're talking about really diving into the culture, any tips for, finding those really authentic food experiences?
Try a traditional Korean meal early in your trip. Look for the smaller family-run places. You get the real deal there.
Okay, good tip. All right, so we've done history, culture, food. Seoul's also known for its nightlife.
Oh, yeah. The energy is amazing.
The guide mentioned a few hot spots, Hongdae, Akawan, and Gangnam. What makes them different?
Well, Hongdae, it's got this young, energetic vibe. It's the heart of the indie music scene, lots of live music, quirky cafes.
Hongdae sounds not hipster.
Uh-huh. Yeah, there's that. But it's also super creative. Like, you feel the pulse of the city there. If you want something more international, go to Itaewon. It's like a melting pot.
Ah, so many different vibes in one city. Okay, last one. Gangnam. I feel like I should know this already.
Gangnam is upscale, high energy. Think trendy nightclubs, fancy cocktails.
Oh, and K-pop, right. Like maybe you'll spot a K-pop star there.
You never know. It could happen. But honestly, even if clubbing isn't your scene, there's still tons of options for fun at night.
Oh, good point. Like what?
The night markets are amazing. Food vendors, local crafts, live music, and of course, karaoke.
Karaoke, now you're talking. So we've got an idea of what to do. How about actually booking the trip?
Well, the guide mentioned FlightNHotels.com.
Yeah, that's right. What's the deal with that site?
It's great for planning. You can compare flights, book hotels, even find deals on tours and stuff.
Sounds really user-friendly.
Yeah. And their hotel selection is huge.
Yeah.
Everything from like budget options to those awesome hammocks we talked about earlier.
Yeah. That's awesome. Okay, so FlightNHotels.com for booking. What about just like practical tips for getting around once I'm in Seoul?
Definitely get a T-Money card when you arrive.
The guide mentioned that, but remind me what it is again.
It's a rechargeable card for the subway and buses. Super convenient. You don't need to buy individual tickets each time.
That makes sense. Seoul's subway system seems pretty extensive, right?
Yeah. It's clean, well-maintained, and it goes everywhere you'd want to go.
Perfect. Anything else I should know?
Try to learn a few basic Korean phrases. Even just hello and thank you. It goes a long way.
Oh, good point. I always try to learn a little of the local language when I travel.
It shows respect,
Yeah.
you know, and makes interacting with people more fun. One more tip. Plan and book ahead, especially if you're going during peak season.
Makes sense, especially to get the best prices right.
Exactly. FlightNHotels.com can help with that. Oh, and we've talked about Seoul itself, but what about day trips?
Ooh, yeah. The guide mentioned a few. What are your thoughts?
Well, if you like history, Seoul's a great option.
Suwon. What's there?
Hwasong Fortress. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The walls are huge. You can walk along them. Amazing views.
Sounds right up my alley. What about something totally different?
For a completely different experience, there's the DMZ, the demilitarized zone between North and South Korea.
Wow, the DMZ. That's intense.
It is. You can stand right on the border, even look into North Korea.
This is all so helpful. I'm already picturing my itinerary.
Awesome. We've only just scratched the surface, though. There's so much more to discover.
Well, we've covered a lot today, but there's one more thing I want to touch on.
What's that?
It's about what happens after you've booked that perfect trip on FlightHotels.com and experienced all the magic of Seoul. Like, what happens when you come home?
That's a really good question. It's almost like Seoul leaves a little piece of itself with you, you know, like a little seed.
I like that, a seed waiting to sprout. So it's not just memories, it's more like how those memories change you.
Right. When you think about everything, the history, the food, the way the old and new mix, it makes you see things differently.
So it's like a trip to Seoul isn't just a vacation, it could actually make you, you know, grow as a person.
I think so. And it's different for everyone, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you come home and suddenly you want to learn Korean.
Or, you know, actually try making kimchi.
Exactly. You were talking about that earlier, weren't you?
Oh, I'm totally going to try it. I even found a recipe that uses gochugaru.
What's that?
It's Korean chili powder. I think it's what gives kimchi that, like, special kick.
Nice. So you're already thinking about how to bring Seoul back home with you. For some people, a trip like this makes them want to travel more, explore more.
I can see that. If Seoul can blend the old and new so well, imagine what other cities are doing.
Exactly. The possibilities are endless.
Yeah.
But even if you don't suddenly feel like, you know, booking another flight across the world,
Yeah.
just experiencing something new, that can change your mindset. Even in small ways.
In what ways?
Well, it pushes you out of your comfort zone, right?
Yeah.
You got to figure things out in a new place, see things from a different point of view.
I guess that's true. You have to be more adaptable, more open to new things when you travel.
Exactly. And that can make you more appreciative of, you know, how diverse the world really is.
That's a good point. I never really thought of travel as a way to build those kinds of skills.
It's a hidden benefit, for sure. And the memories you make, the stories you collect in Seoul, They become part of you.
That's such a nice way to put it. Like, they're woven into who you are.
Right. And those stories, they can inspire others too.
So it's not just about us. It's like a ripple effect.
Yes.
Yeah.
We can share what we learn, what we experience.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe someone hears your stories about Seoul and decides to go on their own adventure.
I love that. It makes me think that travel is about so much more than checking things off a list.
It's about making connections with ourselves, with other people, with the world around us.
So well said. You know, we started this deep dive focused on the practical stuff, and now it's become about something so much bigger.
The power of travel, right? It can really change you.
And it sounds like Seoul is a city that's constantly changing, too.
That's what's so fascinating about it. That mix of old and new. It's not static. Seoul keeps evolving.
So even if you visit a few times, it'll be different each time.
Exactly. There's always something new to discover. That's part of what makes travel so rewarding. It's not just about going somewhere. It's about letting that place change you.
This has been amazing. We've gone way beyond just planning a trip. It's been about understanding how travel can, transform us.
And that's what we want you to take away from this. A trip to Seoul is about more than just seeing the sights. It's about discovering yourself.
I love that. We're so excited for you to experience Seoul. And when you get back, tell us everything. What were your favorite moments?
What surprised you? How did Seoul change you?
Safe travels.
And remember, Seoul's always changing. There's always something new. Be open to the unexpected and let the city show you what it's all about.
Until next time. It's funny how we started talking about the, nuts and bolts of planning a trip, and we've ended up talking about, deep stuff.
I know, right? It's true. But the best trips, they always take you beyond the guidebook stuff, don't they? Seoul seems to really encourage that kind of thinking, alongside the actual exploring.
It's like the city itself is making you think and grow. One thing that keeps coming back to me is how Seoul is always changing.
That's true. It's not like it's stuck in time. It's like a living, breathing thing. Always adapting.
Exactly. And it doesn't just erase the past, it builds on it.
Right. You see that everywhere. Temples next to skyscrapers, or they'll have a traditional tea ceremony in some super modern cafe.
It's like the city is having a conversation with itself about what it means to be Korean today. And it makes you part of that conversation.
That's a good way to put it. And you just never know what you'll find around the corner. It's so exciting. A hidden alley with street art, or a pop-up market with young designers.
It sounds like Seoul is really good for people who are curious, who like to go beyond just the touristy spots.
For sure. It makes you think outside the box, too. Like, even the technology there has these hints of traditional art and design. It's really cool.
This has been so eye-opening. Not just about, the practical stuff, but about how to even think about travel.
That's the best thing about it, right? A new way of seeing things.
Well, we hope you're feeling inspired to start planning your own Seoul adventure.
Well,
remember, we put this together just for you. But the real journey starts when you, actually get there.
Safe travels. And remember to be open to the unexpected. Who knows? Maybe you'll come back with a story for our next deep dive.
Until then, happy exploring.